Hi, I'm Mike Sheehy, Cloud Transformation Architect for Nutanix. In our last video, we demonstrated the capabilities of deploying and managing a monolithic legacy application using our application automation services, automatically applying network security and microsegmentation policies, as well as protection policies for disaster recovery and migration. Through our built-in orchestration, we then migrated this application to AWS while maintaining those same network security and protection policies. But what about cloud-native services? More and more our customers are asking for cloud-native capabilities and services to deliver on the promises of microservices architectures, with rich data services capabilities, much like public clouds provide today. The very reasons customers want these capabilities on-prem are the same reasons why customers have chosen the hybrid multi-cloud operating model, to run their applications where they see the best benefits. The factors in this choice are performance, costs, data safe harbor, security, ownership, and governance. These factors are at the forefront of the decisions enterprise customers are making daily about how and where their application should run. Just like in the lift and shift example that we talked about in our last video around monolithic applications, cloud-native services need to be hybrid and multi-cloud as well, offering the very best in flexibility, agility, and optionality. Let's take a look at how Nutanix delivers these services to our customers today. In this demo, we will deploy a cloud-native application using the same application automation service that we used for our previous video for legacy workloads. You will see the true power of the Nutanix platform, providing a turnkey enterprise-ready Kubernetes service that simplifies K8's provisioning, operations, and lifecycle management. Data services will be provided by our world-class distributed storage fabric, with CSI persistent volumes for K8s, S3 object services, and our database as a service platform, providing a true cloud-like experience on-prem. We will be deploying a web store solution. This application runs Django as the web service is running on our enterprise-ready Kubernetes solution built into the platform. A Postgres database backend with a full set of protection and copy data management and database lifecycle capabilities will be deployed in our database as a service solution. And S3 object services will store the rich media content for our website. Let's walk you through the deployment. Prior to deploying this application, we deployed our K8s cluster, and we did that through our Prism interface. Click the link above to see how to do that. Now let's look at the application blueprint. You can see here we have the object substrate, which will create the bucket and store the objects for rich media content for the web services. The Postgres substrate, which will call our database as a service platform and deploy our Postgres database backend. And our Django front end, which is our web store front end, which will create two replicas and deploy them on our K8 solution. Now let's click Launch. Let's add the application name. We'll call this Cloud Native Demo. We'll scroll down. We need to provide the K8 service account token. The bucket name will be the same as the name of the application. When we create the bucket in our object services, it'll actually name it the same. We'll provide a database password. We'll use the same prefix, Oscar Django prefix for the database. For the database as a service, we need to provide an SLA, and this is around data protection and copy data management. I have 4 SLAs to choose from: a gold protection policy, silver, bronze, brass. We'll choose bronze, and we'll talk about that later. There's ERA database parameters, which are our database as a service Postgres parameter. Network profile. Let's choose our compute profile, which is out-of-box small compute. Our software profile, which will be a non-HA Postgres deployment. And then we'll choose deploy. Now we can look at this application in its provisioning state to see what exactly it's doing. During deployment, the very first thing this does is create a bucket within our S3 object services, and you can see here that this is done. Let's go look and see what that looks like. You can go in the same interface and pick objects. You can see here I have an object store called Empire Vault. Let's click into that. And you can see here the bucket that was created called Cloud Native Demo. Let's go back and monitor our application deployment. The next thing this application does is actually deploy the Postgres database on our Database as a Service solution. Let's log into the Database as a Service solution to see what this looks like. You can see here we have two databases, two sources. Let's take a look and see what those are. And you can see here the Oscar Django database that's actually being provisioned. Let's take a look at this. You can see here under operations that we see that the database is provisioning. Let's give this a few minutes for it to provision. Now we see our Postgres database is finished. Let's go to our Database as a Service platform to see what that looks like. You can see here the provisioning process that took place during the launch of the application. We went through a pre-processing phase, we retrieved the profile information, we created a virtual machine, added networking services, restarted networking services, we created an attached data storage, and we did this per best practices on Nutanix and Postgres. And we applied the Postgres profiles as we needed to do so during the implementation. Then we registered the database back to the Database as a Service platform and applied the copy data management profile, or the SLA profile. Let's go and see what that looks like. Let's go into Time Machines. We can see here the Postgres database, and you can see here that we have Time Machine set up, and we have the Oscar Django database and the default out-of-box Bronze SLA, which gives us continuous data protection for 7 days. That means that I can recover to any point in time to the second for 7 days, hold 30 days of daily, 8 weeks of weekly, and 6 months of monthly snaps. Let's go back to the application to see where we're at. You can see here now that the Oscar application Django services have now been provisioned on our Carbon Kubernetes platform. In a few minutes, this application will be completed and we'll be able to access the application. Now we see this application in a running state. That means the application has been deployed. We started this application today at 1:07 and finished deploying this application at 1:24. That's 17 minutes to deploy an application, deploy the database, apply policies, create S3 buckets, and also deploy the application on our K8 solution. Let's now go to the services to see exactly how to access this application. So you can hear see the host IP here is 192.168.50.11, but we need the actual service port to actually look and see what this looks like. So again, we know the application is running on 192.168.50.111. Let's go back to the creation process and look at the audit of the K8 service and see exactly what port was defined. And we can see the port is 30304. So let's go to this. 192.168.50.111, 30304. And there we go. Now you can see our web store front end. Let's click on the links for all products. And you can see here all the rich media content that is actually displaying on the website, which is stored in objects in S3. So let's go back and reiterate exactly what we did. We actually deployed a full application using microservices architecture with our Carbon solution, which is our automated K8 solution. We deployed a Postgres database using our Database as a Service solution, and we applied SLA for copy data management policies to this database. So going forward, you'll have that same protection scheme around the SLA that we chose, the Bronze SLA. We also created a bucket in our object services, and then through a script, we actually deployed the rich media files within the object service. Let's go look and see what that looks like. So you can see here we have the cloud native demo, and it has 611 objects inside this bucket. One thing we can also do here, if we want to save this or if we want to tier this, we can actually use a tiering endpoint. So I've chosen AWS S3. So if I want to go back and choose S3 as a tiering endpoint, I can do that. So within the cloud native demo, I can do actions. I can click update. I can enable versioning. I can configure write once, read many. This is great for ransomware protection. I can create a replication rule to another Nutanix S3 object service. Let's take a look and see at the actual files within this. So we can actually use our Nutanix object browser. We have to provide the access key and the secret key. And here you can see the objects, the bucket again, Cloud Native Demo. And now we can go in the objects and look at the actual objects themselves. You can see the images, products, etc. And we can view some of the images. So let's see what those look like. And then these are some of the images that are provided to the website.